Welcome, everyone. Say that again for the recording. I was going to change the order for Robbie. I was going to have Robbie get introduced, but Robbie's not here yet. So, but we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, 6:34, and we'll start off with a public comment. And so, Carl had asked for a public comment to present something to the board, and I know we have a agenda here, a few things there, but during the public comment, and he's coming as a citizen, right? Not
Right.
a counselor. And so, yeah, we'll let you, we have a few minutes here at the beginning. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Carl, and state your name and who you are and what you're wanting to comment on.
Sure, I'll go ahead and do that. Welcome. I don't know if I recognize all the faces, it's a little blurry, but anyway, I'm Carl Exner. Lived in the city, for about 23 years, lived in the community about 35 years. So I've been around a little bit. Besides some city business I've got involved in occasionally, I'm also a realtor here in the city of Sandy. And actually that is where I come to this meeting with. About a month and a half ago, I was sitting in a room full of realtors and a few property owners, and we we're just chatting over some adult beverages. And we were talking about the conditions of the city and where we were and how much was going on. And there's a lot of stuff that is happening. And so there's a lot of positive vibes about that. Until there was some conversation about some of the inadequacies between what we have been doing so much with the sod work for so much of the work on Proctor and the different kinds of improvements the city has put together, especially some of the flowers and such. And then, of course, we've had the recent addition to our streets from ODOT. Is somebody trying to talk?
No?
Okay. I hear something breaking in there. So anyway, we got to talking about how we could improve the city even more than what it is now. And so landscaping came up. There's a number of things that in the conversation of this group of probably 7 or 8 people, we were talking about how there are some building and properties that really look sharp and some city places that really look sharp. Some of the examples I can run off the top of my head. And I was going to present some pictures, but this is going to be quick. So the West End couplet introduction there where the old waterfall was. What a really nice, good looking landscaping that is. The City Hall has really got some great landscaping, and some other buildings have really tried to put an effort together. Unfortunately, there are a few properties that are not quite as good. And then you might even find a few that could be described as even worse. And so the thought is why not try to do some of the things that would bring up our downtown Sandy in some regards, like some of the other cities that have been doing the same things in their downtown. Some of the stuff happening in Happy Valley and Troutdale and even in Fairview. Some things where people are putting together maybe even competition for who has the better, most improved. At one time we had a competition. I remember, Jeremy, I think you and I were part of that, where we gave out recognition for buildings who just did a really great job of improving their fronts. And that would be in the same sort of character. And I hearing somebody trying to talk. Hopefully.
Nope, just you.
Okay. All right. So what we're proposing, thinking about, is we would like to put together a community group of folks for the Economic Development Committee to either approve or let us go forward on. And that's that we would like to go through the city and using things like the Gateway Plan. Remember, Jeremy, I think that's back in 2008, 9, 10 or so that we put together that talked about landscaping, among other things.
Yeah, but I still have it.
I think it's still around. Right?
I might have the only copy though.
I'm sure it's electronically there, but I remember it being used as a way to describe some of the landscaping as well as entrances, the east and the west entrances to the city, and how we wanted to deal with some of the landscaping, among other things, entrances. And the other one is I was just walking my way through 1792, the landscaping development code for the city, and it talks a lot about the need for keeping maintenance, bringing up some of the quality of our landscaping, to do things like buffer, to screen things that are not really very good to look at, soften some of those rough edges, create more of a pleasant feel for people when they drive through. And it's what thinking, I've heard rumors that we're going to put together another code enforcement person who will be looking at a lot of the building issues in the city.
Yeah.
And before that gets to be a big, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say he's already been hired. His name is Chris. He's going to start on the 8th on Monday. And what is he? He's code enforcement. He's our second code enforcement officer, along with Officer Moody. But Officer Moody works for the police department. Our new code enforcement officer will work for the development service for planning. So he's going to be dealing with planning and building issues mostly, but that's going to take a ton of stuff off of Moody's plate, which is great.
Okay, so just one of those side things that we have some, the people that I were talking to were not wanting to get in crosswise with that process. So they were thinking about maybe doing some proactive. So some of the things we were talking about, like I said, was maybe doing some competition, giving out some sort of recognition. There is a lot of comments about how wonderful the winter lighting is in the city and the need to expand some of that. Now, we talked last night at the city council about the winter festival coming up, and I'm not going to go off in that trail at all for the moment, but there will be a lot of good forward movements on that area as well with that particular process. But we actually, I don't know if you've had a chance to drive down Pioneer. I did this a few nights ago, and I was told, and I see that it is, there's probably 3 different lumens of lighting in our overhead lighting. If you drive down that, looks like somebody has changed over the years the way the lights were from our street lights. Kind of a tacky way to look at things. So there are some things that were brought up about that. Another thing that was brought up was the East End couplet return, where the trees are starting to outgrow their spaces. And so there may be some, and I think they're probably expect to hear some comments about trying to modify, bring back into alignment some of these things that have outgrown themselves. A lot of comments about ODOT's wonderful contribution of bark chips in the city where they made these Audis and stuff.
We're just talking about that.
Not exactly what we would consider an upgrade for the city. That's what the comments were. And there's a whole number of different things. So the proposal that we were talking about, and I'm bringing here tonight, is I would love to be able to help sponsor either a partially attended economic development people, city people, volunteers, maybe a council person or two. I know I can think of at least one council person that's interested in this project, to be able to come together to the Economic Development Committee, say, before the spring warm up, with this kind of a thought about how that might look, what we might do to bring the city up a little bit in terms of landscaping. Mostly we're talking about things that are already in place, that either by modifying or by sprucing up or adding to color and that kind of stuff. Nothing about making major changes. We have enough problems putting something like that together that we wouldn't want to tear out, start up new and stuff. But certainly that was the comments. And so my proposal is, and leaving it with the Economic Development Committee, is we'd like to put this wintertime committee together and come up with something that would be reasonable, relatively inexpensive, sponsored by from a Ground Roots condition where we might be able to see a fair amount of different property owners contributing in their own respect. So that's kind of pretty much what I always wanted to hand off into your meeting. And if you think that is something we can do, I would love to move forward on that and come up with maybe some more details. I don't want to get into the long details just yet, but I think it's something to consider. And again, this is coming from a grassroots status. And so I see a lot of interest in making this happen. Plus, it kind of dovetails with this Winterfest upgrade that we just talked about at council meeting last night. So that's pretty much in end that I would like to leave there. If you've got any questions or just want to leave it, discuss it at a future time, I'm open to the either way.
Yeah, thank you, Carl. Thank you for your comments and bringing this up. It sounds like, if I can recap, is basically a group of citizens and business owners seeing the town kind of deteriorate a little bit in its look, and wanting to kind of, as you said, spruce it up, and find different creative ways to encourage business owners to do that, maybe through a competition, like you said we've done before, or some other types of incentives. I know we, as a committee, don't have any type of monetary type of incentives, but there's can be other types of incentives as well, as recognition to a business or those type of things. But from basically that central Highway 26 from one end of town to another, is that about right?
Yeah, and another really good example I was just thinking of as you were talking of those islands. One's in front of the John L. Scott, and the other one, long one, is in front of the Forest Service. We've invested a bunch of money in that already, and it still doesn't really have what I would consider a good look as you enter into the city. Things like that ought to be found a way to spruce up relatively inexpensively. But I think it's something that a number of folks have brought to me, and I just think it would be worth looking at a way to spruce up and maybe make a little bit more even-handed look at how the city, because there are places that are really sharp looking, and there are a couple places that dull would be a more descriptive term.
I think something you could do right off the bat is do a contest for lighting up your business for the holidays. I don't know what you could incentivize, but a free business license for a year. How about that?
Well, that's much of an incentive.
I don't know, something to, and then make them do all the work and make everyone get into it. But
Yeah.
Brought that up. I'm part of that group with Rochelle that's been talking about Winterfest and how we can make that a little bit better, as has Chris. Unfortunately, she had another appointment this evening. She couldn't make it, but the two of us have been talking with them about that. They do have some funding, and so we've been talking about maybe how to construct a grant program, a very simple grant program, to just incentivize business owners in the C1 to put up holiday lights on their own. And it could be something as simple as, show us a before and after picture, and we'll give you X dollars.
They told us last night at the council meeting that the grant program they were not moving forward with, that they were going to use those funds and try to put together a contest for first place, second place, third place. First place being $750. Well, what second and third place were.
Oh, I see. So now they're talking about.
But again, it's all still in speculatory.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no firm decisions.
Yeah, so instead of us trying to figure out and solve this problem tonight, and we just heard kind of this idea, but I think we can take this and also bring it back to staff. If that's what this group is encouraged to do, I think there's merit to this. I think that I've heard Carl beat the drum on those islands down there on 26, and I was always silently agreeing with him, but I had other mountains to climb, so I let Carl climb that mountain. But
Mr. Chairman, I do have one point that I can bring up on that. We actually discussed this today, Tori and I. If there's anybody in town who hates those islands more than Carl, it's Kevin. And in talking about it, he said, I don't understand why they didn't just film in the country. I said, well, you said they're going to do more of them here in the coming months. He said, yeah. I said, why don't I give ODOT a call and see if they would, at the very least, just fill them with concrete.
Well, I'd hate to see concrete.
Okay.
Personally, that's my personal opinion. I'm not speaking for the group, and the reason why is just we have a sea of asphalt and concrete going down there, and
That's a fair
I'd rather,
Yeah.
if I have an opinion, it would be to see something like what they did in Gresham down Powell or whatever, and plant some trees. And I know that doesn't like trees anywhere near their site, but small caliber trees at least. But that's just my personal opinion. It's
Lots of
just
different.
a lot of sea of asphalt and concrete just
We don't need any more concrete.
is hard on the eye. It's when we just we can have so many things, but that's my opinion. But if we find this, and I think I'm hearing maybe we do, but I haven't heard from everyone. We can have staff take this back and bring back together some plans and some ideas. And I know Carl's laid out several things, and he sent an email ahead of time too that lays out basically what he just said to the letter. If that is something, and bring up some ideas and brainstorm on that, where we've had some more thought into it with staffs looking into that. What are some thoughts, Bill?
I say move forward with it, see where it goes.
I can tell you as a business owner, the building owner there in the core district, we used to have Christmas lights and we just haven't done it recently. But just knowing that people would like this and there's a concerted effort of, building owners to do it, I'll do it this winter.
Maybe with some,
Leavenworth, see how cool that is.
Oh, yeah.
my uncle's the mayor there.
I do it every winter, but nobody sees it.
But-
It's not facing the street.
So, and hearing that the Winter Festival, whatever, is looking to expand across the city, I think it's a great idea. That's just one aspect of what he was bringing up to. And there's the rest of the year and that type of thing. And the couplets, I do have to agree. I think the one on the one side needs to probably be trimmed up. But I think he says trying to get in and solve all these problems, just like what we used to do when I was on council, it was like, here are these ideas and let staff have the opportunity to go back and kind of take this information and then kind of bring something back to us and then we can add to that. That's all right. All right. Well, thank you, Carl, for joining. Oh, your hand up.
One thing I'd like to add to this is because it came from kind of a groundswell from some property owners and some people that have businesses downtown, I would like to make it as much as possible. I know that you can't just leave them in their own little committee, but this is a groundswell rather than something that would come down. I'd like to have it come up. Jeremy, you can remember some of the old days where we had the city. Oh my goodness, I can't think of the name right now. Here with trying to get the city to come up with a district to be able to tax them and get them to improve their properties. It seemed like we just got tore apart. But if it's something that comes from the people themselves, I think we got more of a chance of making sure it happens. So I would love to see let's make sure it's included with the property owners too. Okay.
Well, I think we have great staff on working with us on this because probably there's no one person more in communication with the property owners or the businesses in town than our economic development staff. So we'll do that. And, if you have a list of some of the property owners that you're conferring with or whatever, I want to send off to David so that he's aware and can, check in with him or give him a call or whatever. Or maybe have, some brainstorming ideas with them or whatever like that. So.
Yeah, Carl, if you could email me some of those people that you were talking to, I'd be happy to go around and have a little chat with them.
Sure. I'd be glad to do that. And I know they'd be happy to get started in that process, be included. Okay. Hey, thanks, fellows. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Carl.
Thanks, Carl.
Give me your time. All right. Bye, guys.
All right. Well, we'll jump to approval of the minutes, and I don't see the minutes.
Yeah, I don't know why that is either. They should have been included in the packet, and I'll have to ask Jeff about that. But we can
We'll postpone that to the next meeting, and we'll have two different sessions of minutes hopefully at that next meeting. Well, the next item of business is to welcome Robbie Walters. Don't see Robbie, so we will postpone that to the next meeting.
What business are they involved in?
His business is called MTB Coach Robbie. He's some sort of mountain biking coach. That's all.
So, other than that, kind of this, we'd like to do a little shout out from, and updates from, board members. If you have anything, you don't have to have anything, and if you have something, shout out, the summer is coming. I say the summer is officially ended as of, yesterday, because that's when school starts, and that's when I went back to school. My wife now is insistent that it's not till October because September's still the summer. I don't know, whatever. Summer ended yesterday for my
I'm
sake.
with you. It's fall now. It's nice out.
Well, and the weather actually changed this year. So like, I go out in the morning and I'm like, oh, I gotta put a jacket on. It was quite chilly, but it was kind of nice too. But anything you guys want to shout out or anything on the summer? How was business? How did our community do and that type of thing? You guys have different various types of business or things that you've heard about from others.
May probably one of our slowest months ever, and that was followed by June was very slow. But we had our camps during last week of June and all of July, so we had 5 weeks and they all sold out, which is good. I got paid for back in March, but so we're feeling a bit, brought people in, and we're down. We just closed Mondays and Tuesdays again after the summer. And part of that's due to staffing. We are looking for some cafe help. Someone, if there's anybody with a little bit of cooking experience and cafe experience, we're looking for that. That's our biggest challenge right now. Has been for the last couple of years. We're getting lots of applications. Some are too young at the moment, but
He loves to cook.
yeah, we need 18 and older because we have the beer and wine.
Yeah.
So that's our covered structure was wonderful this summer. Love it.
Awesome. And it looks great, especially the new site.
A little different design. Mike has actually started work on the side that faces Fred Meyer.
Mike made it too.
Mike made it.
Probably.
After a year, I think it might actually get done in the next month. I'm kind of in shock.
You gotta love me. He's good. Well, you don't have.
Yes. No, he's great. He's just a little eccentric. But
Parts.
so the weather, we're looking at, September is typically a slower month for us, but it's all weather driven. So last Thursday when it poured down rain, they were sold out. It was great. So it's kind of crazy. Really start ramping up November through April.
I know my kids aren't of that age,
Right.
wanting to come in and that, but they all did come in because my wife was watching nephews and nieces that were real small. And they came in, and of course the kids played board games. The older ones played board games while the other ones ran around. But they sure enjoyed having that there. It was definitely a treat to come visit Lisa and
I think I remember them there that day. I didn't realize who it was.
maybe.
I saw people playing board games. So.
Yeah, my sons were playing stuff. But anyway, cool. Anyways, how was the morning?
So brewery business is always good in the summer.
Yeah, especially in the
People
summer.
drink when it's warm.
Trivia night's great.
Trivia is an awesome night. Live music comes and goes. Gonna find out if people would rather have it on Saturday night than Friday night, or maybe a little later. So playing around with that. Next big thing I've got a beer festival over in Vancouver. That doesn't really affect around here much. But then the 23rd is the Oktoberfest down in Estacada. They're expecting about 2,000 people.
Okay. They used to have an Oktoberfest, but then they got rid of it a couple of
I
years ago.
wish they never would have.
Yeah.
So evidently it's down the highway now. So that's our next big thing we got going.
How did the Brewfest go for you?
Good. I actually did it there this year because I was asked to do it there. They actually came to me and said, please do it here. Which I don't know that Leopold was that happy about it, but we'll get back with it again because we just did the one day that Sunday, and I didn't advertise it that heavy really or anything, and it went really well. I tried something different because beer fests are getting really hard to pull off. It used to be you do it for a cause,
Right.
and everybody would donate their beer and cider.
Right.
And then if you bought extra kegs after a certain point, you buy them from them. Well, that went away. That's just before COVID and just after COVID. Nobody's donating kegs. They're trying to survive.
Right.
Breweries are dropping like flies in the Portland area right now.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah, like flies. There's every other day there's a new article about somebody closing up.
Oh, wow.
Now it's starting to hit the cider companies.
Yeah, the cider on the news today. So
Yeah, River Nats.
What's the reason behind that?
Yeah, he's closing down.
Costs.
Is it just cost or is it?
Costs
other-
and just change in market. And
Yeah.
it's just all of it. I mean, beer cost me probably 45% more to make now than it did before COVID. And that's not counting my labor. So, but I still love doing it. So we're, I guess I don't have to make a living. It's okay. My people that work for me make a living. We're doing okay. But yeah, the summer was good. I hate the fact I'm now kind of closing the garage doors down more.
Those are nice
More.
garage doors. I like them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really opens the place up.
Oh, it's wonderful when it's wide open. Did a metal night, a couple of them. Had 4 metal bands in. That was awesome.
Oh, man, why, you
Those-
should have told me about that.
Those people, they had a ball, good group of people. Everybody thinks, God, they're gonna tear the place to shreds. No.
No.
The worst thing happened was they tried to get a mosh pit going. That made me a little nervous, but
A mosh pit in your place?
yeah.
Makes me nervous. It's a little small.
Fortunately, there's not a lot of room, so they got pretty self-contained.
Well, no, I'm curious, what was the average age of your patrons? Would you say?
Oh, 2 of the bands, the Quits and Sub Block 3, those guys are all probably in their mid-40s.
Okay.
And they brought a big group in, and then the Sex Panther and Power Slut 666, they're younger.
I love
But-
both of those band names.
Yeah, I know. I told my son one time that Power Slut and 666 and Sex Panther were coming and playing. He's got buddies with metal bands and stuff, and he goes, where do these kids come up with names? Those are horrible names. They're pretty funny. They have a good time. So,
Yeah, I have a high school who's still in a metal band today.
yeah, yeah.
It started when, right after we got Mr. Teal's Distortions of Mr. Teal. Hey,
Yeah, cool. But life's good.
All right. Nice. How's business and you?
Business is good. Our building is getting to be pretty full. We've had 2 hospital tenants coming to look at our 2 final spaces, so.
what kinds of businesses?
One is insurance and one is massage.
Oh, cool. Get any difference?
Yeah, it's quite the variety in the building that we have.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that. We actually have a cruise planner in the building now. That's our latest travel agent.
Well, anything, Chris? You got anything to tell us about in the
I don't have anything
world
business
of
related
council?
to tell you about. City council, nothing really, except for what I already said about Winterfest coming.
Yeah.
They talked to, Rochelle gave a big presentation yesterday, so if you're interested in that, go back and watch. It was during the work session yesterday, so. But they're trying to put a theme together to expand the Winterfest and try to, make it more, uniform throughout the city and to make a bigger draw for attraction. If you think about it long term, right now, everything's free for the citizens. They were talking about, if we can continue on the path that we started last year and continue the growth with that, maybe eventually start to get to a spot where we can start to put a small fee for other communities coming in, other people coming in and just really, draw traffic into Sandy. So that's really it. Business wise, I work out of Washington. So
I know, more related to
yeah.
here, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. And hey, back to the peanut gallery. How's the business going with Sandy?
Staying busy. You might not see us doing a lot of construction right now, but we're doing a lot of upgrades in the data center, and we're releasing. We're hoping to have 10 gig released as an offering here next quarter or so. It gets kind of pushed out, but we'll definitely start offering the multi-gig service, at least the 2 and 5 gig, probably in the next couple of months is the goal. So we're getting all that in place. From marketing will be the last piece, but the infrastructure, we're still getting everything implemented and upgraded. Equipment's half a year out right now, it seems like, so just planning and stuff starts coming in. So it's been a lot of other projects in the works. ARPA's halfway done and trying to get it kicked back up, so it'll pick back up. But we're bringing on an employee for weekend work to help handle the workloads to replace modems, working Saturdays and Sundays. And then I just talked to HR to bring on a new utility worker, and so they'll be.
Is that a new position?
Yeah. It's to replace one employee that's moving over to our junior network engineer role, and so that the offer should have went out today for that person. So hopefully in about 2 weeks they'll be starting. It feels good to get a little more staffed.
Yeah, so you're Saturday, Sunday person, are they available for troubleshooting if stuff goes down, or?
Potentially. So that piece, we haven't quite worked out that. I think they'll stay busy with appointments. But for weekend support, we've been looking at trying to bring in someone for after hours contracting.
That would be great.
It's the next step. It's just, and it's definitely cheaper than hiring someone to outsource it, even if it's only limited to at least have someone talk on the phone and handle hopefully 80% of what needs to happen. Otherwise, escalate it. We just want to make sure we pick the right person, the right company and contractor doing it. And it's definitely not something that's cheap, but is definitely the next step to get us fully functional.
Yeah, not that it goes down very often, but it does.
I know the weekends, that's been the kind of the killer, but it's just the way we've always operated. So making that shift is interesting as a city.
Is there going to be substantial change in the take rate?
No, it's pretty much flatlined right now.
80%?
Yeah,
Carbon 80%.
80%. We
Comcast wishes they were 80%.
Yeah. New orders trickle in. We've got some of there's a partnership we did with Clackamas County for businesses around Clackamas County with fiber. We're starting to see an uptick in some of those, and those generate about 3 normal customers worth of revenue. So per customer. So it'd be good to get 50 or 60 of those online.
We're partnering with them to go down Colorado Road, which has homes and people, but businesses, as well as you went down Jarl as well.
Yeah, so we're about 80% built out on Jarl.
Which, if you know where that is, it's right as you come in the first light. You have light on one side and Jarl on the other.
Not a lot of houses out there, but no one else is going to come down that road.
Right.
So it feels nice. That's always been a goal of mine since I started, that to be able to go out that far. And then the businesses, Colorado, Gunderson. I think the Clackamas County is wanting to look at Marmot Road as well, and I think that's definitely an option. But they still need to finish they have too many irons in the fire as it is, so they need to finish up some of their projects before they start taking on more. Colorado Road and Gunderson are being built out now.
Yeah.
We've received probably 40 to 50 orders, I think, at this point. So I think there's about 160 homes. I think we'll have a pretty good take rate out there.
The one there called Sandy Home. They just live outside the city limits, but still call Sandy Home, and they have no other types of service. So I'm gonna go anywhere else for it. So.
And as far as marketing goes, and we'll talk about this later, but that is there's a couple of goals in the plan that calls for economic development and Sandy Net towards the market.
Great. We have if I can ever find the time to finalize it here, we have some marketing software that's being implemented right now that'll start doing some deep analysis for us. So see.
All right. Well, cool. Let's keep moving on. I like to, end on time. Development updates. And so I know there's the big one.
Yeah.
We're all wanting to know.
Yeah.
It's the number one. I warned David. I go,
We didn't work on it for 2 weeks.
When does the fence go down?
yeah, when's the fence going to, when do they pave the next pavement? And, I know.
I want to get in there and cut cookies somewhere. Real quick.
So I'll just say it, 362nd Bell Street. I have to say, I cheated. I went from the high school park and I ran all the way down and in because, you know, you can run down that. What a beautiful area. I've been down just a little bit of it before we did any development on it. Just you don't realize how deep down it goes. But yeah, they have sidewalks all the way completed. They have, you know, the run is great because nothing's on the road and can run right up to the fence. And anyway, and then back, it's a little hilly, but man, it's gonna be nice for when it gets open. But can we give an update?
Yeah, what is the delay?
For some reason, this machine is having.
The delay of the project.
Oh.
Not your delay.
And I know we've heard a lot of
We're gonna
rumors.
start throwing stuff at you.
Yeah.
Well, you get those rumors, but I've heard the rumors of the delay. I know some things you can't talk about, maybe because they might be behind closed doors, and we get that. But for those that can be, and then I can tell you about the rumors from the employees that are working on it and told us so. But I'd love to hear from you.
So this is what we're talking, right?
Yeah.
So while this project has mostly stayed on target since we began in late January, which is amazing, the crew has unfortunately run into a few delays recently. The signal controller that was ordered by ODOT turned out to be faulty and needed to be replaced. So ODOT's currently they have the new unit now. They're currently conducting testing on it, which should take about 2 weeks. After that, we need Canal to put in a storm line on the 362nd Ave and remove the old signal poles. So that's about 2 weeks worth of work there. Street is currently slated to be open to the public during the first week of October.
So I heard that it's rumors, and you know how rumors travel in town. And supposedly this is someone that's installing it too. But when they put the lights in there, they put them 4 inches too close, and you can't get ADA around it.
I hadn't heard that, but
Yeah, that's what but I guess I don't want to start the rumors, but I wanted to see if it was true or not.
yeah, I mean, it could be. I haven't heard that, but that doesn't necessarily mean it isn't true.
That's why the delay of not paving and stuff was happening. So why are they not paving?
I had to do a storm water drain under 26.
So under 367. Oh, yeah. There must be some reason why they
Well,
have that.
We don't need to nitpick about it, but it's just nice
The one
knowing.
part is the street's slated to be open the first week of October. That's what but yeah, I mean, it's been great to kind of see this thing move along. I've been going down to the site about once a week, once every 2 weeks, so I'm just checking out the progress. Man,
They can pave 362nd from 26 down to where they stop.
I have the same question. I don't know.
Maybe they have to put storm drain in first. They're actually gonna do it right.
We have a big hole on the 362nd side.
Places.
We're gonna turn that right.
No, just because they paved 362nd from the entrance to the Maiden compound up to the three-way stop, but they didn't pave from there up to 26. It's like the hill.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have the same question. I don't know.
There's a big hole there.
All right.
There you go.
So, yeah, so, okay, so.
More-
Yeah, why
So,
you going more to-
Here's the next 2 items. The one on the left, 38888 Pioneer, that's where Grandma's house used to be. This property, I think I mentioned to you guys last time, this property was recently purchased by Marlon Good, who's a businessman in Estacada, who's an auto mechanic. Mr. Goods met with planning and economic development staff several times now to discuss plans to upgrade the building and to bring it up to code. It does have a fair number of code issues that we're going to have to deal with, and some of them are good on Mr. Good for, pun intended, for doing this. Plans do not appear to be set in stone at this time, but after considering splitting the building into 2 suites, which is what he wanted to do originally, he's now in discussion with some folks who would like to open. They're Baker operators, I believe, from Damascus. I've talked to Sarah Williams, one of them, on the phone, and they've been doing this for a while, and they like saying, please come, open 2. We would love it.
That's what it was before, right?
Yeah, correct. That was the last business that was in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she moved her business out of there to the one over the brand new building over on Hood Street, across from across from on the right hand side is Barlow. That's the going to be the site of the new Barlow Trail Vet Clinic. He is ready to develop. The owner's name is Sean Hill, and I know Sean pretty well. I've been taking my cat Barlow Trails since I've had him. He's received land use approval from planning already, and he has a green light to begin with. So I have not spoken with Sean recently, so I don't know why he hasn't started yet. He probably just he hasn't had land use approval for that long, so it's not reasonable that he is.
Will he be affected by the moratorium?
That could, yeah, I mean, that could be part of it, although, by the time, well, yeah, actually, that is a fair point.
That's why I thought it was slow developing.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's another conversation, but you're probably right.
You can do the old
I don't know, I don't think he knows yet. They're not gonna hold on to it. I thought, so when you can have 2 locations, maybe specialized cats and dogs. So no, actually, they're going to do that with the new building. They're going to have 1 entrance for cats, 1 entrance for dogs. Interesting. But no, I don't think he knows what he wants to do with it yet. His dream, if you were to ask him, would be to put a burger building. Fortunately, I don't think burger is building
Norwalk could allow for the.
yeah, and then with a drive-through line. And plus, I just don't think the lot's big enough. He thinks. Yeah, we don't either. Anyway, next up. So, and then finally, we have on the left, 16800 Southeast 362nd. This is the one across the street from the Fred Meyer, the big building over there. For a while, PG&E had bought the property, and I think they owned it for a couple of years, but they never really substantially moved into it. And then they sold it to Johnson RV. Johnson RV is currently using it as their maintenance, cleaning, and painting facilities for RVs. They're also making a number of substantial upgrades to the property, including a large building addition, pedestrian right-of-way improvements that are already done. The sidewalks are already in, they look great. Adding a stormwater system to the site view and having paving multiple surfaces and adding additional. So it's
and adding another entrance.
Oh, are they doing that too?
No, they did.
No, they did. It's huge.
It's on industrial.
Yeah, it's expensive. Like that's not a cheap.
Oh, yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah.
When I drove by, I was like, wow.
I was wondering if they were gonna close the one on 362nd.
That's what I was wondering
Problem
too.
getting in and out of.
I didn't know if that was a requirement to close the other one.
I don't know.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it's a upgrade to the property for sure.
And on the right is the road fabrication site, and we've had Joey Gambino come in here before to speak to us. I did send an email off to Joey on a couple of things. One, saying, hey, how's everything going? I haven't talked to you for a while. I'm just curious what's going on with the site and the business. And the other one was, hey, by the way, I sent him a copy of the Economic Development Strategic Plan, and I said, metals fabrication is mentioned a lot, and one of the things that I'm going to be tasked with soon is putting together, trying to get kind of a trade group going here to get you guys talking to each other. So maybe we could do a little bit of economic gardening with some of the other metals businesses here, and maybe we can start talking about, hey, are there smaller businesses that you guys use for parts or whatever that maybe we could start looking at recruiting. So anyway, there's a lot of things we could talk about metal stuff, but I planted that seed as you're saying, hey, I would love for you to take a look at this and give me your thoughts.
So where's he at?
Yeah, where's the active building?
I don't know. Yeah, so the long and the short of it is he hasn't responded. So
I asked him about 6 months ago, and he was just kind of like, "Yeah, I'll get to it when I get to it."
that's kind of this, yeah. So I mean, obviously he doesn't have a lot of pressure on him to just start right now. Yeah, I mean, it seems that indicates to me his business probably is fine, but I would like to talk.
Yeah, the city went through a lot of hoops. The council went through a lot of hoops to planning it, to have it rezoned and get that ready to do that. And this is the first time where it's a hurry, and then nothing happens, and then something goes away. I don't know, maybe there's something the city should look at that's like, okay, this is good for a year.
Yeah.
Versus the attitude of, well, I'll get to it.
Well, I just think he's
He may be
got
busy,
too many
but
irons in the fires too. So
that could be the case too. But there's a lot of other types of things that come up sometimes that you don't have a deadline to hit. Sometimes you don't. So
Moving on, current urban renewal grant projects that are the new urban renewal well, with the new biennium, we're gonna have funding week again,
So is this the
so.
grant project?
Yeah.
Can we jump back up to the development, because we
Sure.
skipped over some, where are we at, as the moratorium?
That, I didn't, I was not able to talk to you.
Okay. Do we know anything from the council's point of view?
I'm trying to think of what the number was. It was just increased.
Yeah, it was.
Increase in April, May, when we did the study again?
Yeah,
What was it?
The number of units that could be built under the
they
moratorium?
went to, they renewed it. So I don't remember, I'm gonna.
That's fine, I'm not gonna.
Let's say there was 130 that they
Yeah.
approved, right? Let's say 20 got used. When they reassessed it, they approved, I think it was 300 total to be added, so it tripled it. What was remaining, so that's gonna be big. But the moratorium's still in place, but it's got expanded access to it.
So when you go back to the commercial building, there, the moratorium's not really holding them up, because you can apply, there's the permits over there.
And if the application was put in before the moratorium, they've already had special consideration given to it. So it depends on how long it's been in the system, but if it came after it, then it just comes in a first come, first serve area of need
Right,
for the city. So
yeah.
And did you guys also discuss, when we do get, at least for future, I mean, I know at least that we discussed this with, the contractors of doing content, but, when they start becoming available, there was some discussion about setting aside a certain amount of permits for commercial.
yeah, there was an analysis that was going to be done there that was ongoing to determine what our needs were for that sector, and then they were gonna let the council know what that number was.
Oh, I see. Okay.
We don't know it yet, so.
Yeah, which is good, because, you know, a lot of commercial may not use as much water,
Right.
or
They don't have-
sewage, you use a lot of water, but you don't use very much sewage.
Yeah, it's just the number of bathrooms in the.
Well, okay, just, that's what it's told to us by other breweries that wanted to come to town, is, you know, everyone's drinking it and taking it away.
Yeah, okay. I guess I could go there.
Well, we had breweries that came in and said, hey, can you put a meter on our sewage and meter
Yeah.
that, because we use a lot of water brewing.
Yeah,
and
because
we're
sewage is
shipping it all
normally,
out.
yeah,
It's all tied to the
yeah,
water usage.
yeah.
At least from my experience, at least from what I've heard, most of the delays in construction are because of staff, just like it is in the bigger businesses. Construction just don't have the manpower to do the site, so everything's pushed out 3, 6, and 9 months from what the original plan was. And if the owner delays it 30 days, that might delay it another 6 months, because that crew moves on, he goes and does other projects.
Or delays of a week. I was just at a meeting today where we're realizing that the people that won the major bid for this build out didn't have all the contracts signed with everyone, and now they're going, well, we're on it. They can't get people now to apply for them.
Yeah, right.
Dates, promise the world, right?
Right.
So, well, yeah, that's good to know, because I know, going back to 362nd, and one of the things I brought up with David was wanting to get back with, in another future meeting, maybe the next meeting, was with the real estate agent, commercial real estate agent for the Scuppers, at least. I don't know if the Lundins are part of it or not, but if they are, to have them come, they met with us there a couple of years ago.
Yep.
The lady did, she's from Redmond or Bend.
Yeah,
And
I actually knew her prior to that.
okay, came, or we did it on Zoom at the time, but presented and that. So we want to make sure that she could come and talk about what she could talk about and where they were trying to go with that. So that we can also, because part of the moratorium, people are worrying and what can happen with that land if we can't build on it and just put this, you know, or what the timeline would be. But if we can put a Fred Meyer's may use a lot less money than that same square footage of apartment buildings.
Right.
You just put a pool in there.
Just put a pool.
Everybody happens.
But anyways, but as that, the 362nd, and knowing any of the development updates, like I hear from David, we don't know anything yet at this time. The road's not done, it's a chicken and egg, but there is some works in the background, because we all hear rumors.
Right.
I mean, you've all heard the rumors, and I keep on telling people, well, it's rumors, and from what I know, the city's always the last one to know.
Yeah.
Well, yesterday's council meeting said that they expect 362nd to be open sometime in October. They didn't say the first week.
Well, but I mean, like, businesses even coming to town, like, everyone knew about Dutch Brothers before the city knew
Before
about
that,
Dutch
yeah.
Brothers, right? everyone knew
Well, I
about.
knew they were looking. I didn't know that they had picked the site.
I know I went to a party in Sandy and somebody pulled me to the side and said, I heard a Costco's coming right off 362nd. I was like, hey, what?
Yeah, I heard that.
Well, there was,
They did come out. and talk
wait,
about it.
yeah, about 6 years ago, 7 years
No, I'm
ago.
talking.
No, I know,
Yeah,
I know,
we
but
hear the rumors.
the rumor didn't just, someone watered that rumor and it grew again. So, but in that same vein, we hear about the Home Depots and the Lowe's and the XYZ, pick your, Walmarts and everybody else. People can imagine, and then someone else hears it, someone else hears it. So trying to get back to the truth of it, what the city knows. So,
And I can honestly say, for everybody here, I have not talked to anybody from Costco or Home Depot or any of the big box stores. I've talked to nobody about those things, except Costco.
but if we can get, and they've been willing to do so in the past,
Mhm.
an update after.
That'd be
It's been about 2 years, 3 years now,
Yeah.
something like that.
Big piece of pie.
Yeah, I've got a note then.
So-
I'm gonna try and get in touch with Bob, and I'll send him another email tomorrow morning. And yeah, I mean, if she's still representing them, I would love for her to come and let us know, hey, what's going on? Whatever you can tell us would be helpful.
Yeah, and then however we can work with encouraging for
Right.
the city or us as a community to help with getting the word out or going to different types of other meetings to attract, businesses.
Is there one real estate agent that's trying to bring in the people to buy that? Buy that?
Yeah.
And one would think there would be plenty of commercial interest in those properties.
Once the road is built.
Yeah, since the road,
And as long as the moratorium was established, because those that put in
Yeah.
$100 million or $200 million for a big building or whatever it costs now these days, to be stopped. Or they can build maybe their own, septic tank system until you can hook up, because that's what's been done in the past in other jurisdictions there. My understanding is the gas station, or space station has done that. Anyway, and then you had one more in there that told me it didn't cover structure.
yeah, that is under,
Is it
under grant.
Okay, I just saw
It's a
it.
grant project.
Okay.
So first of all, what we have in, that's going on right now, we are talking to Clint Melville over at Sandbar Barbecue. We did bring, this in front of the sewer board at their last meeting, they approved it. So what we're doing here is you can see over there on the right-hand side of the picture where, that is going to be ADA parking. There is a slight difference to this in that, because of the topography of the land, and Terry was just out there with, our concrete guy today. This is gonna have to turn a little bit like this, to come in, which is fine. All it means is we're gonna have to put in, just to be super safe about it, we're gonna have to put in a couple of those, highway median barriers, just to make sure nobody jumps past. Because it's entire,
That's on that hill, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, we're probably gonna have a very small change order on that, something order like that. Also, and actually I love this plan, the sewer board also required a couple other code items to be completed before he gets reimbursed, and that is you see the striping there, that's part of the parking pad that we're putting in. We're actually also requiring him to stripe the entire parking lot, vacuum sweep it and stripe it, which he wanted to do anyway. And we're also requiring him to put in street trees along 26. And so those will end up going in, I think there's gonna be 8 of them, and those are gonna end up going basically right here. So next to the pedestrian. So we're gonna have to use 2 different trees because on one side of that utility pole there on the left, there's overhead wires, on the other side there's not. So we're gonna put in 2 different kinds of trees to make sure that we don't mess up those utility wires. Some extra, cause our public works department's budget.
But no additional paving beyond that, because I know people park on the grass and then.
Yeah, so we have talked to him about that. He actually, he's okay with striping the parking lot because right now it's just kind of chaos, but he did, let me know. He really does want to just resurface the whole thing.
I mean, there's a part where he's parking on the grass, they're actually.
Well, he wants to cover all of that with blacktop too. And, we need to check to make sure that that's not gonna mess with his, landscaping requirements too much. You can see, he's got quite a bit of landscaping there around behind the covered structure and to the right of the covered structure and all that.
Well, that one car that's sitting diagonal up there, the grass starts right there.
Yeah, that's true. So, he said probably, he goes, I would have loved to do it now, but, cash flow. So, maybe, but he says, it is something he wants to do in the next year.
So I
That's
think
right.
when he at least when he stripes it, you'll have cars that will park there, they may block that area. If he puts the striping down the right way.
You won't be able to put stripes that far over, because that driveway's not that wide going out that side.
Is that gravel?
If you have all those cars at the building sitting diagonally all the way down the end, the pavement comes down fairly thin there. So there won't be any, up where the grass is, I suppose you could paint lines into the grass. I think they had before.
No, well,
I mean, if you
at
need
this
to park-
point, I don't think, well, so I don't think you can park in the grass, according to C code, but I don't think he wants people to park in the grass anyway at the moment. But I can also say, I stopped by here about 2 weeks ago, and on a Sunday night, I was so impressed. I pulled over to the church and took a picture. Every spot in that parking lot was full, and there were also 14 cars in the church.
I was gonna say, half the church parking lot gets filled up.
Yeah. Does that happen often?
Almost, yeah, I drive by it every day to go.
Yeah, he's been doing really well since he got it.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Excellent.
like, I don't know if he has an arrangement with the church or not, but, I don't know if the employees are all parking over there and others, because you'll be sitting in there and people will park there and then walk over, because
That's fantastic. I mean, Red Shed never did anywhere close to that kind of business, even when they first opened. So, and all the reviews I've heard about the food have been really good here. So,
well, I love that door. I mean, we've only gone over there when we sat outside. So.
yeah, their covered structure's great. It really is. I mean, I'm glad that fence, keeps most of the traffic noise out, and, yeah, it's really sweet.
Moving on, so we make sure we have the time.
So anyway, this project should probably, unless there's additional delays on anything, I would imagine this will probably be done. Sounded like that. Well, I don't know about the striping the streets, but the concrete work will definitely be done in those. Okay, next project. This is the second application that I got in. It's a small one. This is Mountain Hood Cigar. We did a facade project with them last year where we put in on the other side of those windows, there's a deck. You can see a couple of fellows sitting out on the deck smoking a cigar right there. Problem right now for the owner of this business is that in order to access the deck, you actually have to leave the business, go around the front, and then go through a gate on the side. He'd really like to have, and I believe OLCC would really like him to have direct access from inside to outside. So he has visual access, which is great. But they would really, I think, like him to have some sort of immediate access he can get out there.
Everything knows is it's illegal to carry the beer around the outside.
Yeah, there's that. So anyway, this is, we're estimating that this is a small project. Anyway, he's putting in a garage door, glass panel, metal frame, or he'd like to. Cost on the project is approximately 10 grand, so it's not very expensive. Is that covered back there? Yes, it is. Yeah, the overhang of the building covers the whole deck.
I realize that was there.
Yeah.
That's on the west side of the building, I guess.
Yes, correct. This is the one, this is the big one, or this is one of the big ones that we have right now. So I've actually got finished. This is for scooters. Jeremy Klein over at Scooters told me a while ago, he said, look, put an application, and I went down and had that grant application meeting with him. He took me around, and you can see all that vinyl strip flooring in there. One of it's coming up now, and it's not terrible yet, but in a year or so, it's going to be. And he said, what I'd really like to do is just take out all the customer-facing floors in this building and put in concrete floors like they have over at the Bird. Great, thank you. He got, so he'd like to do that, and then there's two other items. The two pictures on the left are his video filter area. The Oregon Lottery Commission has told him, so he's got the bar side and he's got a family restaurant side. That entrance actually faces the family restaurant side. The Oregon Lottery Commission said, maybe that's not the best idea. So he'd like to close that off, just basically extend that wall all the way through so there's no entrance there anymore. And then, I don't know if you guys are familiar with they've got basically two little lottery booths there that have a couple of machines in each, and they have this little kind of window thing in between them. Well, if you're gonna close, and there's another, you can see the entrance in the back that he wants to close off here. And then here, there's a swinging saloon door that goes in there. So if we close this off, there's no way to access the other little pod there. Definitely not for 88. So we're going to open that up down to the floor and make sure it's got 88 credits. And then finally, the bathrooms in that building are not good. So, and that was the first thing he showed me, actually. So I really would just like to do a complete remodel of the bathrooms because I've been in them, but they're bad shape, especially if
Can you require them to put heat?
Boy, I wish.
They're always cold.
So what we're gonna do in the bathrooms is basically replace everything except the toilet fixtures. The toilet fixtures are heavy duty industrial or commercial toilet fixtures, they're fine. They're bulletproof, but he wants to take in the concrete floors and go into the bathrooms. He wants to take all the tile off of the walls and replace it with, I'm not familiar with that material, but FRP, thank you. And all the way up to the top, put in new lighting fixtures, take out the sinks and that little counter there, put in a new counter of his choice, probably just some basic tile, and new sinks, and replace, and most important thing is replacing the metal partitions in both bathrooms because they're really bad. Overall, I think the total cost on this project is going to be between, and I need to get the building department's input on this too, but initial estimate is probably around 60 to 70,000 for the whole project. So that was coming. Moving along, and then finally, the one that Jeremy asked about that told me in. Boy, has this been a long ride. This project actually, we started this back in 2021, as you can see from the project. We've had a lot of issues with this. First of all, this is the last one that I started because this was kind of a special project. If you recall, the owner of the restaurant it was really important to him to have opaque roof structure because, and it's a legitimate reason. If you were to cover that whole thing, the way it's structured as such, it would look like a cave. And you can put as much, electrical lighting in there as you want, and it still look like a cave. And he's kind of right about that. We talked to the architect on the project and said, yeah, that's probably a good idea. So anyway, we went, I started this one late. We went through the first round of bidding. The winning bidder came in actually surprisingly low, which was Rick's Custom Fencing. If you remember, this project that's just a false facade, what you're looking at there. And this project is really a metal and acrylic frame structure that comes in a kit, basically. Sorry, I lost my train of thought here.
Is that on the east side of the building?
It's right next to the main entrance. It's that little courtyard right there.
They have the outdoor seating there.
Yeah, they have outdoor seating. Yeah. It's not correct. Anyway, so I lost my train of thought.
You said it was low bid.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So it was actually we estimated the cost of the project at about 70 grand. At the time, the bid came in at like 51. We're like, cool. And then about a week after we awarded the bid, we got contacted by the winning bidder that said, oh, we were looking at this design and something about steel and aluminum can't be together. And so we need to order more parts, and it's going to they basically added 42% to the cost of the project after they wanted it. And that didn't really sit real well with staff. So we had a meeting with the applicant, Ron Wasowski, former planning commissioner, myself, Kelly O'Neill, and our architect who's working on this project. And basically, we all came to the same conclusion that I think, and this is just, we don't know if this turned out, this is just kind of the way we're looking at it. Because the bid came in so low, and then we got a really weird request like that, the next lowest bid for this project was $105,000. I think he underbid it, and then went, uh-oh. So anyway, we talked to, so we all kind of came to the same conclusion that we need to rebid this project because something's fishy here, and let's just start over. And the applicant was actually surprisingly good with that. He was the one that was really pushing for it the most. So, we told all the bidders we're gonna do another round of bidding. The first time we went out to bid, we used, there were 6 contractors in the Portland metro area that this metal and acrylic frame company uses as preferred contractors. So that's who we reached out to. They're familiar with the project. After talking with the architect about it and everything, we thought, is there a reason that a general contractor could put this together? And, so we contacted the manufacturer. They said, no, you can have a GC put together. So the second round of bidding, we actually went out, we took the bid winner, because that, and I'll get to that, why we did that in a minute. And then we actually reached out to 2 general contractors, one that the applicant in Morgan City and one that I did in San, who's built a number of these coded structures. So the bids came back for that a couple of weeks ago. The original bid winner didn't submit a bid, which was interesting because they said, we're ready to go, we want to do it. The other 2 bid winners, I think one was 81,000, the other was roughly 83,000. So it was about a $3,000 difference. So it was a much more competitive process, even though the price came higher. But we think that's a lot more realistic this time around. So the bid winner is a gentleman named Steve Traxler from Morgan City. The winning bid was $82,100. And this project will be, we were taking it back to the sewer board on the 18th, one final time, because the actual the bid cost right now is above 10% of what we estimate, which is what the rule was at the time. So the council requested that, or I'm sorry, the sewer board requested that. If we have things come back 10% higher, not necessarily they're going to say no, but they want to review it again, which is perfectly understandable. So this will be on the agenda on the 18th. And there is,
Didn't that change?
I'm sorry?
Didn't that change? The sewer variance?
Yeah, it did. It changed to 20%, but at the time, this was 10%.
Oh, so you gotta follow that. whole-
Yeah, so we're, and, you know, because it's taken so long, because it's been such, we want to make sure everything's. So anyhow, hopefully, on the 18th, we'll get it. What's that?
I wish mine would have been.
Yeah. So anyhow, this, we'll have it there on the 18th. The contractor's ready to go. Did say that there may be some delays of a month or 2 on some of these posts. The beams that are used in the false facade, they're pretty big. I'm sure because you guys, you've got
I'm trying to get that up this year.
it's possible. You know, the thing about, the great thing about Ron is he's in no hurry. I mean, he's doing it. So, and this is taking so long now that he's just like, you know, we'll get done when I get it done. But no, I'm actually really excited to get this going. I think this is gonna look substantially different than the rest of the covered structures around town because of the knee wall, because he's using different stone wrap on it, and you know, along with the way it's designed. So I'm really excited to see how it's going to go.
All right, well, thank you. We have one last thing on the agenda, and that's the new business. This is a sheet that David handed out. Picked up, sorry about that. And and go over it. This is something that we were asking him to do in the last meeting we had. And sorry, I wasn't anticipating at the beginning when we planned this all out, public comment and getting into that part of it, but we always will have that opportunity for public comment. But if you want to get going, David, we have about 20 minutes.
So basically, as requested last time, as Chris requested, thank you, Chris. I put all the priority 1 items for the economic development strategic plan on one page, so we can see what our contractor at least thinks are the most important things we should do. And then on the second page, I kind of organized all of these actions into a order of priority, or actions in order of importance, the way I see it. However, I'm more interested in how you guys see it. I think the first couple of them you'll probably agree with. The first one being the retail market analysis for 2 reasons. One is we've kind of already gone through the process already, and I unfortunately I think we'll have to probably do another RFP because it's been so long. Because we had it, yeah. Well, I mean that was prior to the pandemic. So it's
Oh,
been for years.
yeah, that one. Okay, I thought we were doing it. I thought we just did it. So
But we did, we had an established price for that company that was gonna come do it. So we can just kind of put that out there again. I think the cost to be relative, if I recall correctly, the cost was around $10,000, so it's not that expensive. But as Hans has told us many times, it is an important one. I mean, businesses do use this information when going to get funding, for new business ideas. So I think it's really important. I think that's the most important one, not just because of functionality, but because it's pretty easy. All we gotta do is really, put out another RFP and go to council and say, okay, we're ready to do this again. You guys approved this the last time, hopefully you feel the same way.
So I guess just for the timing, if we're gonna read through each one of these, maybe it might be, if we just take maybe 5 minutes and we can
Sure.
just each individually read on our own, through that and then come back
Okay.
for it. I'm just trying to make sure we have time to be able to talk about what, these orders. So this is what staff is ranked, their rankings, and would like our input on that. So,
It's really just page 2, right?
yeah.
Well, thank you for putting that together too, by the way. It just gives you a good snapshot of the whole picture.
Absolutely, yeah. No, this is helpful for me too. So.
Is there any significance to the color coding?
I'm sorry?
Is there any significance to the color coding?
No, it's just from, like the yellow ones are from goal 6, the red ones goal 3, orange ones goal 2. I should have used, the blues didn't turn
How
out.
would you say the blues look the same? That's right.
Yeah, no, that's not
Okay,
supposed to be.
all right, never mind. All right, so I won't worry
No,
about
there's
that.
no secret. Issues, I don't know why that is.
By the way, PSMP stands for Pleasant Street Master.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, if there's any other acronyms in there that you don't understand, please ask.
We at least been able to read kind of the different things in there. Is there any direction? So this is what the staff has proposed. We asked the staff to come and rank kind of what they saw. Now coming from us, would we like to suggest some differences to that? Yeah, Chris.
I had a question. It's on the last topic, action 5.3.4.
Yeah.
I kind of, just my perception is it should fall right behind 5.2.3. And that's my only recommendation. Everything else is fine to me. I just felt like the multimodal transit plan was probably higher priority than metal fabrication, specific training. And it falls in line with the, right after the transit network connections for outdoor recreation. So it's kind of like you're working on two pods at the same time. That would just be my only recommendation. Everything else looked pretty fair to me.
The lodging with the hotel, that include anything in there for like, convention space?
That's kind of a subtopic within that. It's certainly something I would talk
Because
to.
I think that would help support a hotel as well. I don't know if there's somewhere that's appropriate to add that in or sneak it in. I think that'd be a selling point. There is nowhere really.
Yeah, someone was asking about that the last month, I don't know who it was, but they're really expecting the same.
I can tell you right now, in Clackamas County, there is 0 space to meet in all, besides up at the resort of the mountain, which is kind of getting dated. We've had this there for 30 years and it pulled out because it's kind of getting too dated. And
Average center's on 82nd, the hotel.
Where?
Can't remember the name. I've been in there.
with the Monarch,
Monarch, yeah.
it's too small.
Really?
Oh, yes. So we just rented out the
How many people?
maybe a couple hundred.
There must be more than, because I've done 150 to 175 there.
Yeah, well, we're trying to find a place for 450. We're trying to find a place for 350. 250 we couldn't find. Monarch can't do 250. They also changed the design.
At the airport.
Even the airport can't do this.
Really, the sheriff?
Some of these areas, yeah, for breakout spaces, because we've already ran out of. I'm having to do this, and so we went to Wilsonville. They have a place. We're having to go all the way to Beaverton or Vancouver. The point being is, and the place that you find, they're booking out a year in advance already. After COVID, no one wants, and no one wants to go to Portland. You can go to Portland. There's lots of places in Portland, but no one will rent it. So anyways, just that.
Like that river in Bend place is always
Oh yeah, the convention center.
great conference center.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm just saying that if you
I
had,
think that's to be something.
you had $1 billion you wanted to invest, I don't know if you'd make the money back by the time you died, but it would be at least, you'd have a.
Well, that's the problem, you just don't have hotel here, right? You don't have, you have 450 people come, there's not 450.
Right.
Rooms.
That's what I'm saying. If you're trying to get another hotel and
Gotta-
incorporate that in, and
And just for the record, the Monarch Hotel Conference is 20,000 square feet. Oh, so what?
It's, and then I work right next to
It's
it.
200 people. I didn't know you were talking 400.
So,
Anyway,
I haven't noted-
but I think, I like your comments. Any other?
Well, I like the top 3. I think those are very appropriate. It makes sense to prioritize all the rest of them, that's still a lot, but at least the top 3, I think those are good.
Okay.
Certainly number 1. First one. We talked about that last time, that seems like definitely the right.
I think number 1 is definitely the top of number 1.
Yeah, Jeremy's a big retail market analysis fan, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, 1 and 2 are absolutely in the right places.
I think 3 and 4, I think, some of these we'll be able to do along the way, because it doesn't, you don't have to get 1 and 2 and 3 done before you start on 4 and 5 and 6, right? So they'll come, it's not saying you one
Well, but
less.
the sandy net stuff is probably just gonna happen on the side anyway. I mean, it's gonna
It'll be,
move forward as it's moving forward.
well, parallel,
So, yeah.
and we bring that in,
Right.
right, as we do it, right? So-
Right. So it's,
Yeah.
like you said, you don't have to be done with the first 4 before you touch that.
Well, just kind of like within the retail market analysis,
Yeah.
we'll put sandy net in with that as well, right?
Right. A lot of them do overlap that way.
I think,
Greg just talked about how they're gonna be incorporating marketing into their program, it's already happened, so.
Right.
send out a mailer like you get one from Astound every week. That's costs money. I know, but we're talking about your marketing stuff.
Yeah,
you already have 80% of the market. You don't want to be marketing to sing.
we
No, but that's what
actually,
I'm saying, you gotta be selective.
we have a list of addresses that have already been built out that just aren't active. Those are the ones we send lots of mailers to, so. We know those ones.
You do send that.
Every once in a while, we usually only do it about twice a year though. Yeah, we don't wanna be that company that, we don't wanna be Astound. We don't wanna send them out every week, but yeah.
Okay. Any other comments on the list?
Question, there's for item 4, they can say read a walkability report.
Yeah, the city actually does have posted or drafted a walkability report, I want to say 2 years ago. And I do have a copy of it on my desk. I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's posted somewhere on the website, but I'm not. Give me a copy. Absolutely. Loves it, yeah.
Ever since I was on council, we did CBGC grants. Did I say that right?
CBG.
Yeah. And we use them to fill in sidewalks a lot on Pleasant Street for 26 there, which helps businesses because if you go down any of those roads, you don't have that, nor do you have the parking in the street. So. I spent, especially at the beginning of the summer, my wife and I would walk into town because it was on that lot of nice days, and our kids were old enough to stay home. They didn't want to go out, so we go on dates and we just walk into town. We walked to your place a few times, and having that ability to do so is quite nice.
I get a lot of walking.
So there is, I do have a little additional narrative on the third point, if you see narrative 1 next tab.
Yeah.
I think that was supposed to be page 3, and I apologize, but I can read it to you real quick. And this is just kind of a synopsis of it, and then a couple of questions that I have.
Yeah. It's the third page here.
So, and we're just talking about number 3, action 1.1.4, access to child care facility.
This one.
Oh, so it is on.
Yeah,
It's not on it.
We don't have it.
We have it.
Oh, well, then never mind. It's not on mine for some reason. It's on yours.
Yeah.
If you want another copy.
It might be on this one. Yeah, it is. There's the real one.
Thank you. I screwed that up so much.
Well, and there's for childcare, there's I work at Clackamas CSD in the tech side of things, but they have the whole early childhood and that, and they're wanting to work with areas all over the county for daycares and those type of things, and working with them to help grants or anything else. So it's huge, and they've identified Sandy, and so has the county. And they bring this up once in a while because I have to smirk sometimes because I'm like, I know Sandy, but as a childcare desert, and it's a real thing. And so now you have to talk about like, hey, the city, like we don't know anything about the city Wineville. Other cities have reached out, but the city of Sandy hasn't.
We do have, I do have some connections now. So I'm on the Child Care for All Regional Task Force, so I do go through a lot now on the task force itself, but I do go to some of the meetings, and we do have some connections there. So I know people at the county, and I've made the connections with the people at the county. Who to talk to?
We're not the county.
I'm sorry.
The Clackamas CSD is not the county, so it's a separate government entity. And I worked at the county.
I thought you were part of Congress.
No, I'm not. I never have.
My bad.
BSBs are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess that'd be the
No, you pay less.
No, I get paid less.
Yeah.
I would get paid more if I was at the county. Anyway, that doesn't mean. But we built a facility to help train daycare owners and daycare people. We're in the middle of building it right now on our property. We took over a building, but so anyways, just that there's the resource there for people interested in Sandy daycare. So that's all I wanted to say.
Maybe you should reach out.
Right, any other topics? Any other questions? Any other things you guys would like to see on another agenda in the future?
I just had a question, as a city councilor. I was in that meeting yesterday and they said that, Rochelle had said that she had worked with the economic development on these programs, and I was like, looked at Lori, or looked at me, and we were like, we haven't heard nothing about it. So if there's ongoing conversations that involve economic development with city staff about programs, I think the economic development committee should be copied on that stuff.
Okay.
So that we're kept up to speed with it, because
Yeah.
I'm just in the city council meeting looking at Lori, who's also on this committee, and we're like, do you know anything about that? And I'm like, I said no, she said no, and I was like, well,
That would be good to get a report from.
Is that
Hear what comes from the city council meeting.
and then I heard you say something about Carl sending the letter. I didn't get a letter.
Well, a lot of times what happens, like, if you sent to the mayor or something when they get on the agenda, he sent something to staff, and then David ran it by me as the chair to see about getting it on the agenda. I said, let's put it in public comment. because he's from the public versus having, he also wanted to take up a 30 minutes plus our meeting spot to talk. So I took it as the chair saying, squeeze you down into 5-10 minutes.
So is that not shared, like during a council meeting where we get a packet, like for this group, do we have to packet of public comment that was submitted?
Looking for Lita, I think that was the first time we had public.
We've never had public comment. I take it back. We've had some, Kathleen has come by and brought something up in the audience. So normally what would, he just was saying, this is what I wanted to talk about at the public comment. He said,
gotcha.
come to the public
There
meeting.
wasn't more notes in that.
No, there wasn't more notes. He was just,
Just wanted to-
he was just letting David know, hey, this is what I would like to talk about. And so David said
Yeah,
to
he didn't
me,
give me any details.
as the chair, going, hey, do we want to put this on the agenda? I said, we're pretty backwards to this as public comment.
I just pride myself in coming more prepared for things, and I felt blindsided by it, so I'm both of these.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
No, but,
That's a good point.
yeah, knowing anything that,
Yeah.
the economic development is with grant program or anything like
Or
that.
any other projects I work on with another student.
Yeah, we can send out,
Of course. Yeah, sometimes, as a staff member, sometimes we get a little television. But that's a very good point. Thank you.
Just a communication for the committee.
How do businesses know where to apply for this grant money, like for scooters?
It's on the website.
Okay.
And earlier, I had been kind of pushing it a bit, so I've been going on talking to building owners about the facade program and not so much the tenant improvement program. Restaurants tend to find stuff on their own, but I've been kind of pushing it just to kind of, particularly with smaller projects, to kind of clean up, make downtown look a little bit nicer. The last couple of years, the general consensus, I think, around the administration department has been, we should push those so hard right now because we have a couple of really big projects coming up that are going to require a ton of urban renewal funds. It's not to say that we shouldn't do them. They're just saying, maybe don't prioritize them so much, or maybe just let business owners come to you. So,
yeah, a couple of years ago, I think that kind of shifted because you were out shaking the trees for 15 years, trying to get people like, hey, this is what it is. You can change the color of your building, put some open timber on the front of it. Really do that. And a lot of money was spent that way. On the other side of it, council was also going, hey, not that it's nickel and diming it, but we wanted to have bigger projects. And we can't just be giving out tons of it. And we had done a majority of the city.
and that's the other point. I've touched.
So some of these are getting now 2 times around. They're, touching it again. And so
I really wish when I started in 2011, I would have taken a video camera, started at the one end of the couplet and gone up Pioneer and down Proctor, and then do it again today. I would love to see how much has changed.
But I see the chip and paint on the blue building.
Yes, there were Smith building. Fits and starts. He's got a lot of the projects going on. Yeah, they're actually, Chris Gunderson actually has a crew out there that's working on the surface of the Smith building right now, and the intention is to paint it. So that's going to be the next thing.
blue or a different color.
Difficult.
It won't be the blue building.
It can't be. He's got all things.
I know, but there's some things that grandfathered in.
No, I think if he's going with the same concept that I saw, I think it's going to be kind of like a gray. But but it looks pretty cool. It's gray with gray trim, but they're pretty substantially different.
The Junker building's one on the corner, right?
The Junker building's the one with the glass shell.
Okay, so what's the one on the corner?
That's what we want.
The Studebaker building.
Yeah, Studebaker building. No, so when we first started, you remember after the bicycle shop left there, that thing just sat there for like a decade and did that. Just brief history. The reason that was is because there were 2 owners to the building. They were antique car collectors, so the building was full of old MGs, which was the coolest thing I've ever seen. But one of them was substantially over. He was going through chemotherapy, and he warned us about this when we first started talking to him. So I have chemo brain. My brain doesn't work very well sometimes, so please be patient with me. And he and the other owner kind of got it. He didn't want to sell the building. He had this emotional attachment to the building and stuff. And finally, I'm not really sure what happened in the background, but finally the other owner kind of got majority control and got away to sell. So they ended up putting it on the market, and it was on the market for quite a while. And then Chris Henderson, the current owner, bought it as a property. Chris is one of the co-owners of
Brewery.
a brewery, and I can't remember.
Wayfinder.
Wayfinder thing. But a co-owner is a Wayfinder group. So the idea, I think, originally was to turn at least the big open part of that building closest to Joe's Donuts into tasting room. I don't know that he's that. I think he's got, Chris is an interesting guy. He's gone through a number of different ideas about this. And now he's talking about maybe he'll create a couple of suites and have some independent businesses there. He's not entirely sure what he wants to do with the main part yet. He's still open to maybe selling it if somebody else wants to buy it, but because he's not that attached to it. But he is making progress over there. He's just the problem with Chris. It's not a problem. The issue, the reason why that things haven't been going faster is because Chris has about 8 projects like this going on, and this is he has a couple that are really close to being done. So that's kind of where his focus is right now. He can't really blame him for that. The other item that you guys should know about that building is that the city paid for, there was real example to pay for some design work that was at the end that we done the cool design for the streetscape part on 211 that curves around on the Tupper Road. As you all know, it's pretty rough. It doesn't, parts of it don't have sidewalks and all that, and the sidewalks that are there aren't to code. So we said, look, we'll pay for the design work if you do the work. And I offered to help him with the bidding process and everything. He was like, that's great, because that's the one thing I own that because I've never had to build a retaining wall before I was involved in that. So we got the design work done, and then he kind of disappeared for a while. And I reached back out to him again about a couple months ago and said, hey, what's going on? Like, oh, I'm ready to work on it again. Okay, well, let's work on the retaining wall. Completely forgot about it. And it's like, oh, okay. The decision point was, we had the design work done, it was ready to go, but he initially planned that back area was going to be kind of like an open dining area. And because he was going to have his customers park across the street in the public parking lot, because in the evenings, or should we do it? Okay, now I think he thought it through a little bit more. He said, no, I really do need parking for my building. So got to grade that out, put blacktop on it, which is going to make it way more, which means you got to make the retaining wall thicker. So that's what Wood Design is doing right now. I put them back in touch with each other, and I said, okay, help him design this for please. And I know Kelly Berger, the principal for Wood Design, pretty well, and she's going to take care of it. So she's working with him right now on that, and we're hoping to get that done pretty soon. And the change to that is going to be really. I don't believe so. Yeah, the last time
Wayfinder's building in Troutdale.
Yeah, that's why I think he's moving away from Wayfinder. I didn't know that, but that makes it make a lot more sense.
Wayfinder, and I forget who the other brewery is going into Troutdale. Where? Right, one on just off the main drag up the hill. There was that big brick building. I don't know if that was the old city hall or not.
Oh, I know what you're talking about on the left there.
They took the whole top floor of that off. It's all wood and being rebuilt there. That's going to be a brewery there. And at the other end, there's a building being rebuilt too. But my understanding is Wayfinder, I think, is the one that's going in back behind the disc golf course.
Oh, well.
Possibly almost like a McMinimans thing. I was looking at a little building down there, just for a taste of it.
Just don't go anywhere.
Just for another tasting room.
Stay here. We're good.
All right, well, it's a little after 8. Thank you again. I know there's a lot of updates, and it feels like the city's kind of moving in a few directions here, that especially with 362nd being done. So definitely by the next time we meet, we'll know a little bit more. There might be a Costco there, right? The Home
Trader
Depot right
Joe's.
next door, and Trader Joe's. And we'll never leave Sandy to go shopping anywhere else.